They were supposed to break records and rewrite the history books, but after 7 years of mixed fortunes, the once fearsome empire all came crashing down. The longest teaming duo and trio in Call of Duty history, that record of Scump and Crimsix may have been broken, but the legacy of FaZe's era that once seemed inevitable, now inescapably impermanent. The Complexity Dynasty of 2013 and 2014 established what dominance meant in Call of Duty, reaching 13 consecutive Grand Finals and winning 11 of them, including the Ghosts World Championship. They burned brightly, but not for so long, with Crimsix and Karma soon finding themselves on Optic with Scump and Nade Shots, and eventually Formal. The second dynasty thus came to power, capped off in 2017. Their dominance not as intense, but their longevity made up for it. These two teams represent the gold standard to which every subsequent roster has aimed. With Optic at the peak of their power, a handful of new upstarts arrived on the scene, hoping one day to replicate the dominance they had witnessed at the pro level. Simp the Jetpacker, or Simp the Sick Joke, was turning heads in Black Ops 3 channels, as was the enigmatic Cellium. Simp was dominating local lands, but couldn't compete in the Pro League until he turned 18 in 3 years' time. But that didn't stop him from trying.
Hey, Simp, I'll kill him!
And
there's two.
He wall ran at me.
Got this, Simp. You're the last man standing. Show me grace under pressure.
You're right. That's good. Replays air.
Oh my god!
Nice work, Black Ops.
You can't be handing me those, bro!
Running a train on these fuckers, bro.
Oh, the movement!
Making them look stupid.
It is believed that Simp and Cellium were ringing for an organisation called Kingdom Esports in their attempt to qualify for the 2016 World Championship, playing on the accounts of players who were actually 18. The actual players knew that they would not qualify without some artificial intervention from these 15-year-old prodigies, but they got caught and their team was disqualified. Both ended up joining the EUnited cadets with Illy and Turn Up to Easy the following year in Infinite Warfare, with Cellium getting banned from 8s with pro players because either they thought he was so good he must be cheating, or because he was snaking his tail off, certainly a sign of things to come.
You didn't get to play IW8 because the name was not. I think the story with that is like, I would play the Pro 8s and like, I would be the only like person like not a pro. You know what I'm saying? So I was like a random to them pretty much. Like,
everybody thought you were cheating.
Yeah. Pretty much like I wasn't slamming all the pros at the time. I was slamming everybody, and they're like, bro, who the fuck is this guy? Like, this guy's not this good. And then I got banned.
aBeZy, on the other hand, didn't begin to catch the attention of the community until he had 2 accounts at the top of the ranked play ladder in World War II. Pros started to take notes after he would constantly take their elo points, and Enigma 6 gave him a shot towards the end of the year in the Pro League. He had just turned 18 and was making serious moves, but Simp and Cellium were not far behind. 3 years after bursting onto the scene, Black Ops 4 was set to be the breakout of what would become the FaZe trio, and with competitive COD switching to 5v5, there were plenty of spots up for grabs. aBeZy was picked straight onto EUnited and started strong at Las Vegas with a 2nd place finish to Optic Gaming. Simp wasn't turning 18 until February 2019, so he was still on the EUnited cadets, but everyone knew it was only a matter of time until he received the promotion. Cellium had joined FaZe Clan, and his locked-in demeanour and impressive highlights captivated many early on, but the team still crashed out of the Pro League qualifier and would have to buy their way into the league. They remained an occasional threat that season, but Cellium was certainly not the rookie story of the year. Crashing out of Fort Worth top 16, and with Clayster and JCap not seeing eye to eye, changes were inevitable at EUnited. Clayster won the internal war, and JCap was dropped for Simp. The rest is history.
They're all coming to A as well.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
For sure believe that the team benefited from this change. Not to say the Cap is a bad player, he brings a lot to the table and that's why we picked him up in the first place. But bringing somebody on like Simp in the way that he's been performing and even just the way he acted this whole week at the league, I mean, dude is already a seasoned vet. Like his play calls, his adjustments, his IGLing, his calmness, his shot. I mean, everything was there for him this week and I'm so happy to see him do so well just because I mean, I think at the beginning of this year, I was on something. I said Rookie of the Year Simp, and hopefully that holds true.
Simp went God mode in London, his first CWL event, eventually losing to 100 Thieves, but still considered the MVP by many. His duo-ship with aBeZy did not take long to flourish, especially with the hit scan Sorg changes, the first blood entry pressure with immense trade efficiency, slaying power, and clutch factor. Everything came together at the final 2 events of the season. EUnited won the CWL playoffs and the World Championship in dominant fashion, winning $1.3 million as a team in a 2-week span.
Takes down 2, it can all end here. It's on Octane, it's on Slasher. EUnited do it. They go back to back.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Call of Duty World Champions, EUnited!
Simp was MVP of both, with a 1.35 KD at champs. Simp and aBeZy's reign of terror was off to a sensational start. But everything would change the following year. The CDL pressed the franchise button, and Activision CEO Bobby Kotick's sports friends had the money to pay. Those who had built up competitive Call of Duty, not so much. EUnited didn't get a spot, and everyone blew up their rosters. At this point firmly established as the Tiny Terrors for their diminutive stature outside of game but dominant status within, Simp and aBeZy were always going to stay, and Simp wanted to reunite with old friend Cellium. The only way that was going to happen was to join Atlanta FaZe. Simp, aBeZy, Cellium, Priester, and Major Maniac. The trio joined up for the first time in 2019, not knowing they had 6 whole seasons of ups and downs ahead. Cellium added monstrous AR slaying to the dominant SMG presence of the Tiny Terrors. The COD prodigies of recent years were now in the Pro League, and FaZe had most of them. With Crowder and RJ and analyst EasyMac coaching the team, the FaZe system began to be established. They won the Atlanta home series on LAN, albeit with no Dallas Empire in attendance, and the Florida home series online after the pandemic struck. Simp broke the kill record with a remarkable 50 bomb with an SMG on Azir Cave.
Currently held by Simp himself, so he could be on pace to potentially even break his own record. The game seems like it's almost just done and dusted with 34 seconds left. 48, can he find 49? Ties his own record, one more, and he extends his current record of slaying. Simp putting on a show to start off Sunday. There's number 50. Now it's about setting a pace of which he wants to set for his fellow competitors. With 2 seconds left, it looks like he's only going to best it by 1. But there you have it. Atlanta FaZe take game 1, 250 to 179. And Simp does it again, breaks another record.
The MP5 was so good, in fact, that Cellium would often find himself in a faster-paced, flexible role, very much contrary to where his playstyle would shift in the coming years. FaZe secured the #1 regular season seed, but they did get occasionally battered online, especially by the Florida Mutineers. Clearly, the team was not perfect with Priester and Major Maniac, and after making their 2nd consecutive Champs Grand Final, Simp and aBeZy fell short to the Dallas Empire, featuring Illy, their first real taste of heartbreak at the biggest event of the year.
Everywhere you look, you just see Empire players. Time ticking, second by second. FaZe's dream of a championship is disappearing. Every window, every door, there's somebody. It's a ludicrous gunfight win for Simp, but will it be enough? Just 12 seconds to go. Seemingly nothing that he can do, and there's the final kill. Dallas Empire get it done. They are your 2020 Call of Duty League champions. Crim6, now undisputedly the greatest Call of Duty player of all time. Clayster goes back to back to get his 3rd ship as well. And for the youngsters,
Black Ops Cold War saw the return of Call of Duty to 4v4, so every team were forced into changes. The trio reloaded with Arcetes from their 2019 EUnited World Championship success, who was still well established as a top AR player with good chemistry with Simp and aBeZy. This season was their crowning achievement in the CDL and the year that began to cement the FaZe era. While some argue the competition in 2021 was weaker than it should have been, LA Thieves are a mess, Optic Formal was checked out, Dallas Empire had their drama, FaZe still dominated their opposition, winning Major 1, Major 3, Major 4, and the World Championship. They were pipped to Major 2 online by Toronto, who were also a serious threat later in the year, and if not for Seattle Surge's classic, they might well have made it 6 grand finals in 6 events. Simp and aBeZy had officially redefined the way that Call of Duty was approached. While the old objective SMG role was going out of fashion for several years, the devastating 1-2 punch combo of the hyper-aggressive aBeZy and hyper-slaying Simp as the second man in was impossible for other teams to handle. aBeZy broke Search and Destroy First Blood records, Simp broke Killstreak and KD records, left-right rhubarb. If you got past the duo, you ran into Cellium snake at a head glitch, and good luck with that. Cellium did get into some major drama over snaking, and rumour had it Simp and aBeZy tried to get him to stop, but rather unsuccessfully. He says right here, love how MC, that being Cellium, gets crucified for snaking, quote unquote, but when people did it towards us the end of last year, it was all good and no one said anything. Also, there were other individuals that have done it religiously this year as well, but that gets completely brushed off. Some of the replies here, MC as the super culprit from Octane. Envoy even says as well, he doesn't usually get involved with drama like this, but Envoy weighs in. He is part of the problem. Maybe if he would just chill, then we can worry about the others like Cellium. Yeah, he just continuously snakes all the time. Not fun to play against at all. Joey Nubsy, the coach at Seattle, says take the quotation marks off a snaking, like he's absolutely abusing it in the game right now.
Like Simp is like their rep, like Chris is their rep, right? Yeah. And he talks to us, he's like, guys, I tell MC not to do it. He does it anyway. It's like, what do you want me to do? And you don't control the people on your team. You know, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. So it's like, okay, what's the repercussion? Blacklist them? And it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna blacklist one of the top 3 teams in the game. Yeah, and then
But this roster routinely set to straight up embarrassing the opposition. The community would joke about how badly and how quickly they would beat the opposition down. The debate therefore in Cold War was not who was the best team, but who was the best player, Simp or aBeZy, a debate that does continue to this very day. After winning champs on their 3rd consecutive champs final appearance and firing on all cylinders in and outside of the game, the duo declared they would stay together for the long term, win every single year, and ride off into the sunset when they were 30. Many in the community feared this decade of dominance was inevitable, but the only inevitability would become the controversy over their true status among the greats. The following year was decisive in Call of Duty Vanguard. For Complexity and Optic to earn their Dynasty titles, they had to follow up 1 year of dominance with additional championships in the next title. This seemed inevitable for FaZe, but their rivals were rebuilding stronger. Such was the dominance of Simp and aBeZy that almost everyone tried to copy their model and build teams specifically to counter FaZe. Remarkably enough, this actually seems to work. Seattle Surge were hopelessly inconsistent, but when they did hit form at the Major 3 final, Pred and Sib in their rookie year were too much for the trio. And this was not a one-off occurrence. Scump won his final championship against FaZe after Optic beat them at Major 1. A Los Angeles Guerrillas team took out Major 2 in one of the biggest upsets in the history of the CDL, and Major 4 they dropped down in 3rd. Were FaZe just running into teams at the peak of their powers, or were they having a serious issue converting victories in key moments? Fans started to theorize. Was the pressure getting to FaZe, their playstyles or communication not delivering when it mattered? Locking in for the World Championship, Simp and aBeZy made their 4th consecutive champs final, a truly remarkable accomplishment. This time, they were no match, again, for their finals opponent. LA Thieves never looked like losing, and Kenny finally secured his revenge.
What is the play call gonna be? You got FaZe again on the stack on defense. They're looking to be aggressive. Envoy straight through mid.
Straight through mid. Once again. No one's seen just yet. Here comes the flank. Drazah spotted it. They've double backed. Is it a perfect read? Or will aBeZy find that first blood? Here comes the fight.
Giving up for free. And you're setting up the pinch. You already know what it's going to be. LA Thieves are going to read it. You got to win the gunfights.
It's a 4v4. Here comes the fight. Cellium's the first man in. Trades on behind. Octane wins it. One more man on the flank trying to keep the play going. Shots are there. There is gunfire rattling out all across Tuscan on boy. He's in. He wins it. There's only one man left. And it's done.
That we had a chance to clutch up on the map and we didn't do it. And it was just the last event of the year. Again, it was the most embarrassing thing, getting second 4 times in 1 year.
This was the most disappointing champs loss I've had, just because I don't know, I feel like all year long I've been in a weird like role on the team, whereas like I don't really know like if I'm playing right or wrong most of the time, and I feel like it was personally impacting me.
I'm literally gonna put in so much work for like the rest of my career. Like during the middle of the season, whatever it is, like I'm putting in all the work I can possibly put in, like VODs, rank play, like whatever I can grind the game and do to get better as a player, like I will be doing it, and like that will never happen to me.
Many diagnoses followed as to what this meant for FaZe. The dynasty had certainly not been cemented. The clashing of arseties and Cellium's playstyles in key moments drew attention, as did aBeZy's individual level. Simp and Cell were both voted in the top 5 of the Breaking Point Awards that year. aBeZy was only 13th. Clearly not a great Vanguard enjoyer, this did seem to affect his motivation and dedication to stay at the very top. Not a great sign for a team on the verge of true greatness. Things were also chaotic off the server. While Atlanta FaZe were owned by Atlanta Esports Ventures, not technically FaZe Clan, they licensed out the FaZe name and were still integral to the perception of the org. But times were changing at FaZe. They'd shifted from their grassroots, creator-driven culture into a corporate brand going public on the stock exchange with a $725 million valuation. Impressive on paper, but the company was a house of cards of financial losses and unclear direction. The stock collapsed, as did community perception of the organisation. It was a tough time for FaZe fans, and the COD team needed to turn things around. With Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 arriving on the scene, and not the good one from 2009, arseties was dropped for Slasher, their second of 3 attempts to swap out Cellium's AR duo. Slasher was already a true veteran AR, but one more willing to slot into the role that Simp and aBeZy desired than demand the team be shaped in his own image, as Clayster may have preferred to do. One element Slasher guaranteed, however, was search and destroy prowess. His play for pick style worked beautifully with the trio's raw talent. Breaking the record with 15 consecutive S&D map wins, the CDL record to this day, Search was a key driving force behind the team finally breaking the second place curse at Major 2 and winning again for the first time since Cold War champs. The start of the FaZe revival? Not so fast. The roster made another grand finals at Major 5 where they lost again, this time to the New York Subliners, but at each of the other 4 events played, they finished only 3rd. From 4 second places the year before to 4 third places this time, things clearly weren't moving in the right direction, despite an event victory. These third places included the World Championship, the first time ever Simp hadn't appeared in the grand finals there. Fingers were getting pointed, but who was to blame? Undeniably a down year for Simp, only 10th in the BP rankings, and he was doing more objective work now for the team than raw slaying. But arguably this stemmed from the AR part of the equation. The Vanguard era discussion continued on Cellium playing slowly and for kills, leaving Slasher compromised in the traditionally slower AR role. The two were simply not a great pairing, and while Slasher paid the price, there was pressure mounting on Cellium and also Crowder's leadership as coach. Another year as number 1 in the standings, and always a huge threat in the bracket, this was clearly the FaZe era, but it would take something else to cement their legacy.
And like, if he's in 10 already, what are we gonna do?
They're not. That's what I'm saying. He's not going to be though.
I don't know. I just feel like our philosophy is so fucking trolling on this map, bro.
Well, I just feel like we're just.
I feel like instead of getting 10, you should be trying to get like mid or cat or something, bro. Because I feel like it makes the people on spawns work so much fucking harder. Like even if you get in 10, we can't even get on point half the damn time.
In search of the elusive final piece, FaZe rolled the dice again with Drazah. Despite previous drama with aBeZy after Vanguard Champs Finals, the pair put this behind them with the release of Modern Warfare 3. With Cellium's slow transition from flex to slow AR complete, Drazah's versatility and fast pace seemed a far superior fit. And if the trio was struggling for motivation after years together, Drazah was an absolute grinder. The man was never not playing Charles, 8s, or ranked play.
Was it him?
Scrap of set. That's him.
1v1.
Playing Paul.
Oh, he spawned usually.
Oh my god.
I mean, seriously. This shit's so dumb. I'm done playing tournaments. This is so stupid.
This roster felt different. They got off to a hot start, and despite losing to Scrappy's Toronto in the finals of Major 1, they took the victory in Major 2. Simp won MVP, and they looked like the most complete version of FaZe since the Cold War season. Was the trio's dynasty finally about to be cemented? Some even argue they were better than their Cold War team, given the level of competition was arguably stronger in 2024 than it had been 3 years earlier.
If they like absolutely collapse at the next two tournaments, or next three tournaments, I should say, then yeah. But as of right now, in every single metric, they are better than their Cold War team by every metric under the sun at the moment. They've only played 2 tournaments. They've made finals of won one of them, and every metric compared to their Cold War season as of right now, at that point in the season and this point in the season, this team is better. Record, map pool, map set, fucking all of it. This team is literally better. They highlighted it at the beginning of the broadcast. If they don't win
I've seen K-Son play
like 2 of the last 3, I would be shocked.
However, yet another third and second place followed, and while Simp won regular season MVP, it all came down to the World Championship. If the FaZe trio wanted to be remembered for their greatness together, this tournament was approaching must-win territory. But a similar pattern repeated itself. Drazah or not, big tournament with all the pressure, failing to execute in the key moments. Comms, teamwork, lacking confidence, the result was the same. Number 1 regular season seed, top 6 at champs. Optic Texas win the trophy. Cellium thought that was it. He was getting dropped and the trio was done.
I was talking to Cell at COD Next. I never really had a chance to talk to him. And I was joking with him. I was like, all right, Cell, when you coming over here? Like, just fucking with him. Yeah. And he was like, no joke, I thought after champs I was done. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't understand that. Like, he was like, I thought I was kicked off the team.
But the roster was thrown a lifeline. The inaugural Esports World Cup for $1.8 million had been announced, and the teams flew out to Saudi Arabia for a final trophy up for grabs. Some teams didn't take it too seriously. Some were jet-lagged out of their minds, and some were having pendulum withdrawals. But FaZe were on fire. Cellium upped his pace and dropped a generational tournament as the clear MVP of FaZe's eventual triumph. On the verge of extinction, EWC stopped the collapse, but will it prove the right decision? Simp and aBeZy took the record from Scump and Crimsix as the longest teaming duo of all time, and it looked like the right call to stick with the roster. Some questioned whether the EWC win was enough to justify it, but Major 1 and 2 seems to end the conversation. Beating LA Thieves Game 7 Round 11 in Madrid, Simp MVP again, then thrashing Surge in Dallas, FaZe were back. After months of speculation on when the trio would split, rather than if, it now looked like they were here to stay, and really might play together all the way to retirement. But all of a sudden, the waters were muddied. LA Thieves were cooking online and genuinely threatening their dominance of the number 1 seed, especially after FaZe shockingly crashed out of Major 3 by the hands of the Miami Heretics. Cellium's playstyle was once again being questioned, now in addition to aBeZy's role in the inconsistency. Was he playing too fast, leaving Simp out of position for a trade, or just losing too many spiral gunfights? Thieves got their revenge for Madrid at Major 4, so it looked like a clear two-way fight for the World Championship. Scrap won season MVP, and LA Thieves stole the number 1 seed. That reign of phases was over. But almost everyone expected both teams to do battle in the grand finals in what would be Simp and aBeZy's 5th appearance. But that never happened. FaZe bombed out of champs in 6th place again, as Optic Mercules rose to power and knocked them down into the path of their Spanish bogeymen. The team was in total disarray, and the Esports World Cup would not save them this time. aBeZy revealed the team barely spoke to one another after champs, and the vibes were completely chalked.
Champs and EWC, like, we were just awful. Like, we literally had no vibes. Like, I feel like everything was just dead already. And, like, after we lost champs, like, going into EWC, we were like, honestly, let's just see how EWC goes. And, like, at that point, I mean, we lost to Omit, so, like, after that, we were just like, yeah, this shit. I mean, I could tell you that it's over. It's over.
I think the whole world knew. So that Omit.
Yeah, I was like, yo.
They super dumb.
But actually, they played good, though. I would lie.
Omit
was playing good.
No, they were playing good, but, like, we should never lose to an AM team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So I was like, bro, like, this is done.
It says plenty about how feared FaZe were in their prime, that even when they were clearly compromised, until they were absolutely dead and buried, it still felt like they had a chance. But that was merely an illusion. starting their run by sending some of the GOATs of COD into retirement to crashing out top 12 to an amateur team in their final tournament together. How the mighty had fallen. The fallout was legendary. Fans of teams and players that the FaZe trio repeatedly embarrassed in their glory days had been preying on their downfall for years and finally reaped the rewards. aBeZy departed FaZe after 6 seasons with the organisation to join none other than the LA Thieves. Cellium was there for 7 years and exited to the Riyadh Falcons for the mega bag. The trio was no more, and things weren't pretty behind the scenes. Simp revealed he'd barely spoken to his longtime friends and teammates since the World Cup.
Right when the offseason hit, you know, it kind of just felt like there was going to be movement.
Honestly, since we lost EWC, it felt like there was going to be a lot of movement. Like, I feel like there was... I mean, even after champs, I felt like there was a lot of times I was like hitting up the group chat, not really getting anything back.
Yeah.
You know, kind of catching a vibe, like, you know, shit was off, like, for a bit. I'd like, especially going to DWC. And, I don't know. I mean, as a team, like, we've been team forever, so that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, every team runs its course, but it was just tough timing. But no, I mean, I haven't really talked to either of them, honestly, since the offseason. Like, MC, I have had, like, 1 or 2 conversations with. Tyler, like, I haven't really talked to since, like, the airport, so, like, we have to talk still, really.
Yeah.
And I feel like if any of us, I feel like all of us kind of just knew it was at the end, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You just
we
feel
just
it.
felt it. Everyone felt it.
Why did the trio fail to maximise their potential? Crowder's leadership was questioned, Cellium's playstyle, Simp moving to the objective role, aBeZy's effectiveness called into question, especially in big finals, but also the resurgence of rivals who were not going to sleep forever. Optic were due a return to form, and LA Thieves had finally stacked some serious talent. Simp is staying on FaZe with Drazah, now rebranded in pink as FaZe Vegas, and clearly feels he was not the reason for the collapse. "I'm him," he dropped in Twitch chat, implying a return to the proper slay-heavy role he'd enjoyed in the first few years may be coming. Doubling down that Cellium's comms were a weakness for FaZe, aBeZy just wasn't quite as good as him, and a serious rivalry with serious body shooting is surely set to follow.
Does Cellium have good comms?
Realistically, no.
Okay.
But
You made it work.
after time, we heard him.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was never a situation where we were telling MC like his comps were terrible. I feel like it was a team thing too, to be honest. Like, I think all of our comps, especially towards the end, like EWC, I couldn't tell you what we were calling out. I don't think anybody could. But I think if someone just tells them to face comms, then or like tell them to actually lock in on it, then it would.
Who's the better COD player between you and aBeZy?
The fuck?
That's you and aBeZy, long-time duo. Since Cold War, that's all I've wondered is who's better between you two. It's an endless debate.
I think it's
Who's
opinionated,
better?
but I mean, I'm gonna say myself here, obviously.
My guy.
60-40? 90-10? Just guaranteed?
I don't know about the percentage. Percentages are crazy. I don't know.
What makes you a better Call of Duty player than him?
We're getting into crazy questions right now.
Yeah, this is.
That's a very basic, normal question.
I think I'm one of the greatest because I just do it all. I think I have great awareness, great gunning. I fucking can do it all.
Okay, so where are you better than aBeZy? Every single category across the board?
No comment.
No, dude, you don't
What does the chat say? What's the chat say?
Yeah, what's the chat say? It's more about, what did Shotzi say? Well, Shotzi said it technically
It matters
incorrectly.
more what people say about me than, or like what the people
I
say
say about
about
myself. It doesn't matter what I say about myself, it's what other people say about
I just think in general, compared to like everybody, I'm gonna do it all.
Actually, Chris, that's a good point. We can talk a little bit. This is a crazy question. It's not like, it is in that same vein, but it is going to be wild to like square up against your boys.
No, it's gonna be crazy this year.
For the first time ever.
Us versus Falcons, us versus LAT.
Yeah.
All those matches are gonna be electric. So.
It is going to be. I mean,
it's gonna be something. I'm sure it's gonna be body shooting, after shit talk. I mean, it's gonna get down and dirty. I can already imagine.
It's gonna get dirty. I mean,
The FaZe trio of Simp, aBeZy and Cellium leave a remarkable legacy. This level of sustained success, championships and finals appearances over a half-decade plus period is unlikely to ever be seen again. Players usually team for 1 year, maybe 2, but the longest teaming duo and trio is a record that frankly should stand the test of time. But with all the talent in the world, they could, and maybe should, have achieved far more. For fans of competitive Call of Duty, this marks a paradigm shift, and a highly entertaining one at that. The rivalry between these 3 great players should be legendary. There is pressure on Cellium. Can he prove he didn't just leave for the bag? There's pressure on aBeZy. Can he eclipse Simp on LA Thieves with arguably stronger teammates? And there's pressure on Simp. Can he anchor a new FaZe to success without his tried and trusted core? For years, these players chased greatness together, but when the story of Call of Duty is written, will they be remembered alongside the Optic and Complexity dynasties, or merely as the players that defined their time?